If you cannot wait for the PlayStation 5 like me because of the way faster load times, the better graphics and performance, well then there's good news because Sony promised that the biggest difference between the PS5 and the PS4 and other unique elements still have to be announced. So there are still some exciting things that we don't know about the PlayStation 5 yet, and overall the Xbox and PlayStation strategy will be different this time around. And I want to touch on a tease for a PlayStation 5 game. So let's get into it. A like on the video would be awesome, and let's go. We already touched on this image in my previous video that was revealed during CES with the technical features of the PlayStation 5. Some pretty cool stuff, like with the SSD having load times that are next to nothing is a major change, and this is what the PlayStation boss Jim Ryan noted in an interview with Business Insider in Japan, and this was translated by Gematsu. And Ryan also hypes up the 3D audio and the haptic feedback that when you try them, you will be surprised at how big of a change they are. And I can totally see why. With 3D audio you hear sounds from a lot of different angles, and with the haptic feedback you get better rumble in the two grips. So that changes depending on the surface of the character inside the game. Playing Gran Turismo Sport with a PlayStation 5 controller is a completely different experience, says Jim Ryan. There's no going back after you experience the detailed road surface via the haptic control and play using the adaptive triggers. And I actually never thought about that playing PS4 games via backwards compatibility on the PS5 should already be very different thanks to the SSD, so the game should load way faster, but also thanks to the controller. So that should mean that even without a dedicated PlayStation 5 patch for these PS4 games, the game should still feel like a big step up compared to playing them on the PS4. And Jim promises that there are still more unique elements for PlayStation 5 to come that separate it from the previous consoles. The bigger differences have yet to be announced, he said. So this image is just one part of the enhancements that the PlayStation 5 will have compared to the PS4. Again, I think the elimination of load times is already huge, especially for the big open world games like Horizon Zero Dawn or Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Like really for Odyssey, the more DLC and updates you installed, the longer it took that game to load. So having that down to mere seconds would be very great. We will likely learn more about those features at a dedicated PlayStation 5 reveal event in the coming months, and I think he's mostly referring to firmware or software type of features. I totally think they will once again talk about the fact that you can choose which part of the game you want to install, like the campaign or the multiplayer. And actually, I was surprised to see this, but Call of Duty Modern Warfare of last year already lets you do that. So if you, like me, are more interested in the campaign than the multiplayer, then you can just only install the campaign, and we should see that way more during the next generation to save up some space. And it will be nice on the 1TB SSD, although I would not be surprised if they went with a 500 gigs SSD at launch to cut the cost. Hopefully there are ways to upgrade it though. Another PlayStation 5 feature that will likely be highlighted during the PS5 reveal event and that could totally enhance our day-to-day use is the ability to see multiplayer servers for games in real time already from the UI. So they can see what your friends are up to without having to boot up the game first. And for single player games, this means that you could already see your mission log and maybe the rewards that you would get from completing that quest. So you know what you are about to do in the game before you actually boot it up. The rumblings right now is that the next generation will really be about being able to jump between different games very quickly and maybe play for 10 minutes, have a good time, and then go do something else. And I can totally see this work with the already announced PS5 exclusive Godfall. It has drop in and drop out co-op, so you can quickly jump into a game in a few seconds, slay some monsters with a friend, get a cool gear piece at the end, and then go do something else. We already know that the Xbox Series X will let you run multiple games in the background, while right now we can of course only have one game in the background. So I would imagine that the PlayStation 5 has something like this as well. And speaking of the Xbox Series X, we learned a little bit more about their upcoming 2-year strategy in terms of exclusives, and this totally seems to be different from Sony's strategy. So in an interview with MZV, we learned from Matt Booty, the head of Xbox Game Studios, that in the next year or two, all the Xbox games will play up and down that family of devices. So that basically means that we should not expect any Xbox Series X exclusives, at least till the end of 2021. So all the games will also be playable on the Xbox One. Our approach is to pick one or two IP that we're going to focus on and make sure that they are there at the launch of the console, taking advantage of all the features. And for us, that's going to be Halo Infinite, which is a big opportunity. So we should totally expect Xbox Series X exclusive features for Halo Infinite, but it will also be playable on the Xbox One, as was already confirmed. And I would not be surprised if that other game that he's talking about that will have a similar approach is the new Forza, that it will also come to the Xbox One, but have exclusive features on the Series X. But yeah, this strategy is completely different compared to Sony, because Sony looks to be taking a more traditional approach. And this according to Jason Schreier, the most credible journalist in terms of reports, like he really knows his stuff. According to him, the PlayStation 5 will actually release exclusive games that you have to buy this new system for. So yes, this likely means that the next Horizon will be awesome for people that plan to buy the new system, since the game will fully utilize all the bells and whistles of the PlayStation 5, but it will be sad for everyone else who cannot afford this new console at launch. Although a lot of people seem to be hyped, the logo of the PlayStation 5 was actually the most liked image for games on Instagram ever, like just the logo. It now sits at 5.2 million likes, while the Instagram account only has 22.3 million followers. So that is huge, and especially compared to the Xbox Series X console reveal that had 424,000 likes on the Xbox Instagram account. Like sure, it was a trailer, so that usually gets less likes than a regular photo, but still it's a huge gap, and you would think that if Sony showed the actual console, that it could get even more likes than the 5.2 million. We will find out soon enough. Analyst Pierce expects that the PlayStation 5 will outsell the Xbox Series X around launch, so at the end of 2020. And he also says that both platforms will sell more consoles at launch than both the PS4 and Xbox One did back in 2013. And I can totally see this happen. As we discussed in my recent video, the PS4 sold 4.2 million units in a month and a half in 2013. The PlayStation 5 will now be backwards compatible, so that should already help with the sales. And it's also coming off one of the best-selling consoles of all time, the PS4, so it should be easier to maintain the momentum. I think more people will be interested in the PS5 at launch. And the new game from Bluepoint Games will totally help with that. This studio, of course, did a great job with the Shadow of the Colossus remake on the PS4. They also made the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection. That is, by the way, now part of the PS Plus lineup, so claim it right now before it's too late if you don't have this collection yet. Either way, they already teased that this next project is going to be their biggest yet, and that it will be on the PlayStation 5. Well, now they posted a tweet on their social media account saying "Stay hungry, #ResetEra." So that's a nod to the people on that gaming forum who are speculating what this new project might be. And then they also shared an image saying title, fast loading, of course thanks to the SSD, and also this blue cabbage next to it. And especially this blue cabbage could be interesting. Because under this tweet we got John Joyle, who points out that the Soldier's Lotus in Demon's Souls kind of looks like this blue cabbage. So is that a wink, coincidence, or just a troll? Because we also have Spyware on ResetEra, who notes that this could be a big troll indeed. Because we got Snow White, who posted this at some point. Frankly, at this stage, I would even take just a black screen with a title. Please, Bluepoint Games, we're dying out here. If you don't say something soon, I'm going to eat an entire cabbage in protest, raw and unseasoned. You have been warned. So yes, could totally be a cool reply to that person, but the tweet has been removed. So maybe they were asked to remove it, or that's part of the troll as well, or maybe because it did give something away. Overall, the whole Demon's Souls remake has been rumored for a very long time, and it's just very likely. In February 2019, Jason Schreier said that yes, a Demon's Souls remake is coming, and later in 2019, he confirmed it once again with a simple smiley face. And a Demon's Souls remake just makes way too much sense. Shuei Yoshida, the Sony Worldwide Studio boss back in 2012, totally admits dropping the ball with Demon's Souls. He first thought the game was pretty bad. They did publish it though in Japan, but they did not publish the game in the US or Europe. No, Bandai Namco and Atlus did that. And well, Bandai Namco ran away with the series and From Software, and then they made the Dark Souls series. They are now the publisher also of the upcoming From Software game Elden Ring. While if Sony fully embraced the series back in the day, then this could have been a PlayStation exclusive series. So remaking Demon's Souls and releasing it again is one way to fix that mistake. And Bluepoint knows how to handle these projects and bring them up to the current standards, and just not many people played it, while the fanbase of Dark Souls, Sekiro and Bloodborne is of course huge. So this could be a great launch game if done right. Let me know what launch games you want to see for the PlayStation 5 in the comments down below. I might want to do a full launch game prediction video soon, see what is possible and what we could expect, but your input is more than welcome in the comments down below. Subscribe for everything on the PlayStation 5 if you haven't already. I will keep you up to date here and bring you all the info. For now though, I will speak to you next time, and goodbye.